You can spend thousands decorating your living room, yet a single mistake, like mismatched curtain length or buying a full furniture set, can make the entire space look instantly cheap, according to professional designers. The most expensive homes fall into these traps without realizing it, and mass market retail wants you to. But why do these errors have such a dramatic impact? And which ones are secretly sabotaging even high-budget rooms? Most people live for years in a poorly designed home without knowing why it feels wrong. The good news is, once you start seeing the solutions in my videos, you cannot unsee them. If you do not want to be one of the people being misled, subscribe and hit like. Let us break down the real living room design pitfalls nobody admits, starting with what is hiding in plain sight. Bare windows send a message most people never intend. Even with great paint and furniture, a living room with no window treatments feels unfinished, like a rental you just moved into or a room waiting for its real owner. The problem is not just emptiness. Windows left undressed make the whole space feel cold and incomplete, no matter how much you have spent elsewhere. The opposite mistake is everywhere. Big box stores push 84-inch curtain panels because they fit standard shelves and shipping pallets, not because they suit real homes. Hang them straight out of the package and the curtains stop inches above the floor or barely cover the window. The effect is skimpy, awkward, and instantly cheap. Thin, see-through fabrics only make it worse, like wearing a t-shirt to a formal dinner. Designers swear by a simple fix. Mount your curtain rod as close to the ceiling as possible, not just above the window frame. Extend the rod beyond the window edges as well. This high and wide trick draws the eye upward and outward, making ceilings look taller and windows feel larger. Suddenly, the whole room expands. Even inexpensive curtains look more expensive when they are hung this way. Length matters. Panels should reach all the way to the floor, ideally just brushing it or puddling slightly for a touch of luxury. No one notices the brand or price tag, but everyone sees if the fabric falls short. That is why professionals will spend a little more on the right length and weight, even if the material itself is basic. A heavier drape hangs better, holds its shape, and blocks that telltale glare of cheapness. For renters or anyone on a budget, this is one of the easiest upgrades. Swap the rod for a tension bar or use adhesive brackets. No holes needed. Even $30 panels from a discount store can look polished if you hang them high, wide, and long. The change is instant. The window becomes a frame, not a gap. The room feels finished, intentional, and pulled together. All it takes is a tape measure, a little extra fabric, and the confidence to break away from the default. A living room filled with a perfectly matched furniture suite might seem like a safe bet. After all, catalogs and sales floors make it look so easy. Just pick a package, sign the receipt, and wait for delivery. But the truth is, these matching sets are the fastest way to drain a room of personality. Designers spot it instantly. The sofa, love seat, and chairs all wrapped in the same fabric. Identical coffee and side tables lined up like soldiers. It does not matter if the price tag is high or low. Uniformity signals a lack of confidence, a space designed by a retailer, not by you. This style of shopping exploded in the 1990s, when big box stores and chain furniture retailers trained their staff to sell living room suites. The psychology was simple: make decorating feel effortless, remove all risk, and maximize the sale by bundling every piece. What works for a showroom or a hotel lobby does not translate to a home where people actually live. The result is a room that feels flat, generic, and forgettable. There is no tension, no surprise, nothing for the eye to explore. It is as if the space is stuck in a time capsule, untouched and unremarkable. Contrast, on the other hand, is what brings a living room to life. A room with a mix of textures, shapes, and eras feels layered and intentional, even if every piece came from a different source. Start with one anchor, maybe the sofa you already own, then swap out the matching armchair for something with a different silhouette or in a bold color. Bring in a side table with a vintage patina or a lamp with a sculptural base. Suddenly, the room tells a story. Each piece stands on its own, but together they create a sense of depth and movement. This is not about spending more. It is about editing and curating. Sometimes all it takes is moving a chair from another room or trading a side table with a friend. Even the smallest change, a textured throw, a patterned pillow, a thrifted tray, can break up the sameness and transform the entire vibe. The goal is not chaos, but a collected look that feels like it evolved over time. That is what designers call lived in luxury. So give yourself permission to break up the set. Mix, match, and experiment. The room will breathe, and your style will finally have space to show up. The difference is immediate. What once looked like a furniture showroom now feels like home. Hanging art at the wrong height is the fastest way to make even the most beautiful piece look out of place. Walk into a room and spot a painting floating a foot above the sofa, and it feels like a billboard for unfinished design. The eye searches for connection but finds only a stretch of blank wall, dead space that breaks up the room and makes everything feel off, no matter how much you spent on the frame. There is a reason museums and galleries never hang art this way. The standard comes straight from places like MoMA. The center of the artwork should land between 57 and 60 inches from the floor. That is average eye level for most people, and it is how professionals ensure every piece feels anchored and intentional. When art sits too high, it floats in its own orbit, disconnected from the furniture and the rest of the room. The solution is pure measurement, not guesswork. Grab a tape measure and mark that magic number right on the wall, anywhere from 57 to 60 inches. For art above a sofa or console, the bottom of the frame should sit 6 to 8 inches above the top of the furniture, not a foot or more. This small gap keeps things visually linked, creating a tight vignette where everything feels like it belongs together. Suddenly, that awkward stretch of wall disappears, and the space feels composed, not random. The best part is this fix costs nothing. No need to buy new art or fancy frames, just rehang what you already own at the right height. The difference is instant and dramatic. What once looked like an afterthought now feels curated and deliberate. It is the kind of detail designers swear by, and once you see it, you will never hang art any other way. The tape measure becomes your secret weapon for turning chaos into polish, one nail at a time. Getting the scale right is where most living rooms go wrong, and it has nothing to do with style or price. It is about simple math, proportion, not guesswork. Picture a massive sectional with a coffee table barely big enough to hold a magazine, or a delicate lamp lost beside an oversized armchair. These mismatches make the room feel like a dollhouse, or, just as bad, a furniture warehouse. The effect is always the same: awkward, unplanned, and instantly cheap. Designers rely on a handful of numbers to avoid these pitfalls. The golden rule for coffee tables is straightforward. The table should be about 2/3 the length of your sofa. If your sofa is 90 inches long, your coffee table should land somewhere around 60 inches. This keeps the table substantial enough to anchor the seating area, but not so big that it crowds the space. Too small, and the whole room feels off balance, like the furniture was bought in a rush without measuring or planning. Side tables follow a similar logic. The top should sit within 2 inches of the sofa arm height, usually between 22 and 26 inches for most standard seating. Too low, and you are reaching down awkwardly every time you set a drink. Too high, and it feels uncomfortable, almost like perching on a bar stool next to your own couch. Think about height, and reach as much as style. These numbers are not trivia. They are shortcuts to a room that feels intentional. Start by grabbing a tape measure and jotting down your main furniture dimensions. Compare what you have to the 2/3 rule for coffee tables, and check if your side tables line up with your sofa arms. Small tweaks can make a world of difference. Swap a table, adjust placement, or even stack books to boost a lamp. Suddenly, the room feels like it was designed for people, not for catalog photos. That is the invisible upgrade, proportion that makes every piece look like it belongs. Pushing every piece of furniture against the walls is a habit almost everyone falls into. convinced it will make the room feel bigger. But the real effect is the opposite. With sofas and chairs hugging the perimeter, a living room turns into a waiting area, an empty center, seats too far apart for real conversation, and a space that feels more like a lobby than a home. There is no flow, no layers, no reason for anyone to settle in. The eye lands on the walls and stops. The saw stops, missing all the depth and energy that could be there. Designers and real estate stagers swear by a simple move. Pull the sofa away from the wall by at least 12 to 24 inches. It sounds counterintuitive, but that bit of breathing room transforms everything. Suddenly, the furniture forms a group with a purpose. People can actually talk to each other, and the room feels alive. This is not about wasting space, it is about using it with intention. Even in a small living room, floating the main seating just a foot forward creates a zone for gathering, not just passing through. Try it right now. Slide the sofa forward, angle a chair toward it, and watch how the space shifts. That gap behind the sofa is not dead space. It is a chance to add a console table, a stack of books, or a pair of lamps. The room gains a sense of depth and movement, as if it was designed for living, not just for show. Home stagers know this trick pays off. In fact, staged homes with thoughtful furniture groupings sell faster and often for more. Some agents report as much as 1 to 10% higher sale price just from better layout. The best part is, this fix costs nothing but a little muscle. No new furniture, no fancy accessories, just a willingness to experiment. The payoff is immediate. The living room goes from flat and disconnected to warm, welcoming, and intentionally designed. All it takes is a tape measure and a push. Flip the main switch and the entire room is flooded with one harsh overhead light. It is a habit built into most homes. One ceiling fixture, maybe a few recessed cans, and that is it. This kind of lighting flattens every color and texture, making the space feel cold and uninviting. Shadows land in all the wrong places. Corners go dark while the center becomes a spotlight, more like a waiting room than a place to relax. Even the best furniture and art cannot compete with the glare. Here is what designers do instead. They create 3 layers of light. First, turn off the overhead. Grab a table lamp and place it on a side table next to the sofa. Add a floor lamp in a corner, maybe behind a chair or near a bookshelf. If you have wall sconces or a string of soft bulbs, bring those in too. Each source should sit at a different height, casting a gentle glow that bounces around the room. Suddenly the space feels warmer, richer, and more welcoming. No expensive fixtures required. Layered lighting is not about buying more stuff. It is about using what you already have and spreading it out. The trick is to let each lamp do a little work, rather than forcing one fixture to do it all. Table lamps give you cozy pools of light for reading or conversation. Floor lamps fill the gaps and soften shadows. Wall lights or accent bulbs add a subtle backdrop, making the room feel bigger and more interesting. This change is immediate. Flip on a lamp and the mood shifts. Faces look better, colors come alive, and the room gains depth. Even a $10 thrift store lamp can transform a corner. If you can plug it in, you can use it. No electrician, no renovation, just a new way to think about light. Once you have tried it, going back to a single overhead bulb feels impossible. The difference is not just visible, it is something you feel every time you step into the room. A rug that's too small is the silent saboteur of even the most beautiful living rooms. Designers call it the postage stamp effect. Picture a 5x7 rug floating in the center of the floor, with every piece of furniture stranded around its edges. The sofas and chairs look like they're circling a puddle, not gathering around a focal point. No matter how expensive the pieces, everything feels disconnected and random, like someone just pushed the furniture in from the walls and hoped for the best. The room shrinks visually, the empty floor around the rug swallowing up any sense of cohesion. The secret is not about splurging on a high-end Persian or chasing the latest pattern. It's about scale. The right rug grounds the entire seating area, making the space feel intentional and complete. Professionals follow a simple rule. The front legs of every major seating piece, sofa, chairs, even love seats, should sit on the rug. In larger rooms, all 4 legs can fit, but at minimum the rug must be big enough to connect the group. For most living rooms, that means an 8 by 10 or 9 by 12. It might sound large, but the transformation is dramatic. Suddenly, the furniture forms a unified zone. The room feels anchored, not adrift. Testing the right size costs nothing. Lay painter's tape on the floor to outline a proper rug before you buy. It's a trick stagers and designers use for instant clarity. The difference is instant. What once looked awkward and piecemeal now reads as polished and inviting. Even a budget-friendly flat weave can look high-end if it's the right size, while a tiny expensive rug will always cheapen the room. This is not just theory. Homeowners who finally upgrade from a too small rug often gasp at the result. Suddenly, the living room feels bigger, the colors pop, and every piece looks more expensive. The right rug is the foundation that pulls everything together. It's the #1 fix designers swear by, and once you see the impact, there's no going back. Right now, a single design choice can raise or lower how your home feels and what others perceive, regardless of budget. As over a third of buyers judge value by living room impressions, the impact is immediate and real. Small, informed changes aren't just aesthetic, they shape how you're seen. The difference is knowledge, not money. What will your space say about you? If after this video you look at your living room differently, then it worked. Subscribe and hit like. This channel is not about spending more. It is about seeing what others miss. If this surprised you, the next video on screen will surprise you even more. The design mistakes that will quietly hurt homes in 2026.